When Jedediah Smith come through my region 20 years after the Lewis and Clark expedition, what did he find? The greatest trees on the planet, the oldest living two things, the, the redwood and the Douglas fir, the most pristine rivers. Rogue River-Siskiyou National Forest is the most rugged, the most beautiful, arguably, and should be the most productive forest in North America. The rugged territory that matches it all. So yes, I raised my sons in a Rogue River wilderness, no roads. So nobody can take away from me the responsibility, the respect, the admiration, the love for a wilderness area. But it didn't take me very long as a young man 50 years ago in the 70s, started my family to recognize that the fires were absolutely, as one of you said a bit ago, unnecessary. Um, And so I grew up around people that had common sense, like everybody on this call, just wants to do the right thing, understands the logic of good, active forest management policies. Um, Never forget, and somebody mentioned a bit ago, $1 million, or excuse me, $1 trillion. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's 1 million. And I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't seen anything yet. And I think that's why you're all on this call. I'm going to encourage you all to stay together. Never give up. Please stay with it. The combined experience and background of the people on this call and others that maybe that didn't make it today is just it's just mind-boggling to me in a very, very positive way. And Roger mentioned our grandkids. I have 9, and probably have a great grandchild here before very long. What was left to us and the responsibility to manage, we did. You did. Um, and it breaks my heart to see what's happening in my state, in the Western United States. And it's a constant reminder. Um, Ms. Tibbetts mentioned destructive federal policies. Here's just one, and you all know this, but I'm going to beat this drum and others similar for a long time with every breath I got. Not to be melodramatic here, but I'm uh, also, like Roger said, or I think it was Roger, forgive me, but you don't need to be forgiven. You don't need to apologize when you see this kind of unnecessary waste, this kind of demolition of especially in Oregon, this great gift that we've been given, the heritage, the legacy, the beauty. And we are determined through the legal system, those that tell us that they know better, and we're going to defy them, and we're getting closer. And of course, we're a little optimistic that with a new president, my chief thing is Randy Moore has got to go, period. And I don't think that's going to be an issue, but we need to have that voice. And I got a voice. I'm not trying to come across as an expert here and the least of that in that category. But again, Miss Tibbetts mentioned the destructive policies. Um, Here's one. When the Forest Service, through wind-driven monsters, wants to look me in the eye and tell me that that's treated lands when it burns at 2,000 degrees, as opposed to a normal fire, which often are good, as you all know, burns at 1,200 degrees. These nuclear fires cook everything. And they want to tell me that's treated acres. As you just said, turn into hardwood forest. It will take at least 50 years to come back and destroy my rivers, my watersheds, my fish habitat. I think it was the American Land Council that really promoted the acreage and the wildlife loss of 22 critters for every single acre that's burned in a non-normal or non-natural, fire. So when I hear a group like this suggest that we need to promote and address a national wildfire emergency, whatever the title is, boy, I am all in. And I to the extent if my involvement is 1% or 20%, doesn't matter. You folks tell me what you think I could do or how I could help. And believe me, I will be all ears, and my crew, and I've got some people in the Oregon House and beyond Oregon, okay, that will gladly be involved. So, um, I think that's probably enough. I certainly would be available for questions. Um, I'm just happy to be on here and listen to anyone else, and we'll look forward to that. The United States Forest Service, for potential class action lawsuits, I think their Achilles heel is the smoke health damage. Now, that seems like a small part when you have, as Dr. Bob said, when you have communities burned to the ground and the public safety issues that, when people die, and the radical environmentalists are determined to double down on having their way. And again, looking us in the eye and saying, this is part of good. And, we got the tribes turning, or maybe they were ahead of us, way ahead of us. But that's probably enough, guys. I mean, I could talk for an hour, just like all of you could talk way beyond that. But I hope that has some meaning, and I hope it is appropriate, all of it. And I've got more notes here. I took a lot of notes, and believe me, if this recording is possibly available, I'm going to listen again. I'm just processing everything I heard and learned, and agree with and appreciate, and it's just more back to being energized. So thank you very much, everyone. Mr. Stubb, I read everything you send out. Phil, thanks for serving on AFRC. If you see Travis Joseph, be sure and tell him that Boice character said hello. Joe, you had a hickory shirt on. I can assure you I'm much more comfortable in that attire than I am. I did take my tie off earlier today, but being in a suit. Jim Peterson and Bob Zyback, those I've known these two for many years, and I've followed him with everything I've got. And they're the last two I would want to disappoint by any remarks I might make. I probably won't talk more than 3 or 4 minutes, though. My name is Court Boice. I was a Curry County Commissioner for 6 years, southwest corner of Oregon, and got appointed to the state legislature due to a resignation. And so I just got reelected a couple weeks ago, yesterday, and with a good margin. I represent the timber capital of the world, Douglas, Coos, and Curry counties.
You would think that the taxpayers who pay for the privilege of having millions of acres burned every year would be pissed off enough by now to see what's going on and, really make us think about it. I hope we can get there.
When the American taxpayer understands, or when they are when they finally learn that every one of those trees that sits on the stump dead, and thank you for bringing up the lack of salvage. I mean, beyond the community destruction, beyond the health smoke, beyond the river, all the damages, letting those assets go to waste. Let's just say each tree is worth $1,500, and there's millions of them out there, and we can't touch them. And then when the next fire hits, there a stick of dynamite, and we can't send fallers in because they're too dangerous. I want to go cut them myself, and just defy the irrational decisions. And so, when again, just emphasizing, when the taxpayer figures out that their public assets are deliberately squandered, and if I could, I don't know what the makeup is of the update for the Northwest Forest Plan, but I hope one of you will be on there. Maybe you can gear me to be on there. Maybe I can help, or have a voice. I don't know if that's all settled, but I would love to join in on that, and or recommend any one of the people on this call today.